The Curved Slotted Ruler by Carl Alexander is a series of rulers that she created to go with her books and patterns that make it easy to cut curves and incorporate them into your rectangles and squares. In this case, there are slots in the ruler, so when I place this on a 9 by 13 inch rectangle, there are teardrop shapes at the beginning and end of every one of these curves, so I can place my rotary cutter in those grooves and cut all of the strips, and they will all have these general curves. These little teardrop shapes extend beyond the fabric on each end so that I can rotary cut and to the very edge of the fabric and cut them into my shapes. In this case, you also have the fabrics both right sides together, so when I cut them out, the curves will fit together. I'm going to remove the top 2 layers of this fabric and show you what happens when all those curves are cut. In this case, you are going to end up with 7 pieces. I am going to keep them together because I need a registration mark to go across this fabric. So I am going to take a chalk pencil and mark about halfway down in between and run a chalk marker across my pieces. I will use this then to help line these up when I am sewing it together, so my curves will be simple to sew. Now that I have done this, I have fabrics that are layered here, so I need to take the top ones from the top pile and shuffle them. I want to do this block in lights and darks, so I am going to take and alternate these so every other block is light, or every other strip is light and dark, so I can sew them together into my completed project. When I do it this way, I will have a set of strips with the dark on the outside on both ends and another set of strips that are going to have the light on the outside. So when I incorporate these into the same project, I can match my dark and lights up from block to block and create a really nice effect. Now there are a lot of curves to be sewn, so this takes a little longer than the other 2 versions of this ruler, but as you can see, the curves are very gentle, so they are very easy to sew together. And even though this is cut out of a 9 by 13 rectangle, once all that cutting and all of that sewing is done with a gentle 1/4 inch seam, the finished block actually will be trimmed down to 8.5 inches. So there is a little bit of a fudge factor built into this block because it will end up bigger than you need, and you literally just take this, place an 8.5 or 9.5 inch square on it. We use the Creative Grids Fussy Cut and squared up ruler, and placed it on top and just trimmed up the edges, so every single block in your finished project will be 8.5 inches. So when you sew them together, everything will match perfectly.